What's good, kings and queens? Sorry it's been a hot minute. Your boy out here vanishing like Keith Thurman right after he beat Danny Garcia. I've been a bit busy with getting some medical issues and checkups out the way, as well as working on some side passion projects outside of boxing, shooting and editing Thailand's automotive scene. Link to my work will be in the description.
Back a little bit more.
Many thought that part 6 was the final video I'll make for the series. It's not. It was the final installment to the original 6-part series I finished back in 2016. With that being said, let's start the video. A lot of bad blood between the two coming into fight week, mainly due to Vargas. Vargas doing a lot of ball breaking during the final presser.
38 years old. He's a grandpa. That man is a grandpa, my brother. Come on, I don't know nothing about New York City. You're a Cali boy.
And in weigh-in day, Zapata and his team finally snapped, causing a bit of a brawl on stage. Now you do have your stage moments, but I feel like it's definitely far less likely to happen at a weigh-in, especially anywhere below heavyweight, because fighters during fight week are pretty moody people for a very good reason. Coming into fight week, these guys are literally fasting themselves of food and liquids before weighing in, and depending on your tolerance, it can make you quite an angry person. So besides Vargas being a complete ass leading up to the weigh-in, is further amplified when that is taken into consideration. So without context here, you probably think that this fighter is scared and disqualifies himself from exiting the ring once the bell is rung. In reality, Harper was getting screwed, and this was him making his statement. Harper never received a contract signed by the fight promoter. He also was not told the fight will be televised. They tried shortchanging him and paid him a fee that a fighter would receive if the fight was not being broadcasted. He should have been making way more than $6,000, including flight, per diem, and hotel stay. Harper only received the flight, per diem, and hotel. Boxing is a full-time job. There is many roles in this sport, especially for the fighters. Harper's job is to give young, up-and-comer boxers rounds and be part of their highlight reel if it's broadcasted, if it gets to there. There's no fear at all, it just comes down to business. His role in this fight is to be a highlight reel on live network TV, and he deserves to be paid an acceptable amount. Harper made the right decision in front of thousands of viewers so his voice can be heard. At the end of the day, Harper and fighters like him gotta put food on the table. So Amir Khan and his wife had a bit of some drama between the two, which was known, and things would become worse when Anthony Joshua liked Khan's wife's photo on Instagram. Then a Snapchat conversation surfaced. So like in the stereotypical celebrity fashion, this was taken to Twitter where Khan tweeted a bit too much information and also accusing Anthony Joshua to be the #1 suspect because he had liked his wife's post. Then to announce he will be splitting up with her. Obviously you will hear from the wife as well, denying such accusations, then to throw some burn his way by saying, "I'm not the one who's been in the papers for cheating." Joshua came back with a tweet of his own, and as quickly as this erupted, it soon ended with Khan apologizing to Joshua and stating it was a misunderstanding. Showtime and HBO have been going head to head for many years, but it wasn't really much bad blood. That would all change in the year 2012. It was Floyd Mayweather's final fight on the HBO contract, making him a free agent, with the looming possibilities of a future mega fight against Pacquiao if he were to get past Tim Bradley that next month. HBO was quite confident Mayweather will renegotiate a deal, as they thought that they had everything Floyd needed, opponent and money-wise.
Hey, how y'all doing?
How are you?
Hey, how y'all doing?
Good.
Oh man, that boy was tough tonight. He didn't lay down, but
August Sanchez when you had to do that.
but guess what?
Yeah.
It's all about excitement, and that's what we gave the fans on pay-per-view tonight. We wasn't running, we wasn't moving. We did a little running, we did a little bit of moving, but the main thing is we gave the fans excitement, and that's
So
what
you're
they wanted
saying
to see.
fans want to see guys hit and get hit, and you're willing to fight that way?
Well, I'm older now, so tonight I had to give the fans what they wanted to see. They paid the money, so I gave them a show.
Little they knew, CBS Under the Table offered Floyd a deal he couldn't refuse, where the money was more than enough. Promotions were brought on board, and a massive funding was directed to their boxing division to promote and completely revamp Showtime Boxing just for Floyd. All Floyd had to do was beat Miguel Cotto.
But I must commend HBO. You guys been doing a hell of a job for so many years. And, I apologize to Larry, what happened the last time. I feel that I was wrong, but things happen. And I want the fans and the people to forgive me. You guys do a great job and keep up the good work.
You're a brilliant public relations man, always has been. Thank you very much for your time.
Love
all
the
right?
fans. Thank you.
Great performance tonight.
You do a hell of a
2 post-fight interviews.
If you watch the Showtime documentary, 30 Days in May, it was cut clear Floyd had already agreed before the Cotto fight even took place. To avoid any litigation when this was aired, especially showing the Cotto event, the posters were censored. Anything that said HBO was censored straight down to the camera crew's hat, as seen in this clip. Summer of that year, Showtime and HBO stepped on each other's feet, scheduling an event on the same day in the same city, airing at the same time. Rising star Canelo Alvarez against Josecito Lopez on Showtime. HBO, you had the highly anticipated middleweight matchup between Sergio Martinez versus Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. This was no coincidence. This was a textbook piss-taking contest. After the 2012 year ended, in 2013, boxing promotions took sides with TV networks, taking their fighters with them, creating the boxing network Cold War, forever changing the political landscape in the sport. Maurice put on a good show against Ortiz. Even though he was not winning, he was making it very entertaining with back and forth action and forcing Ortiz to stay on the offensive. Though being dropped in the 6th round, Hooker was still going toe-to-toe with Ortiz rather than just packing it up and fighting on the defensive to a decision, which he had every right to do.
The next exchange. This is the fight that Maurice Hooker wants to avoid. It's just going to take one shot. Get back on the outside. He's the next.
In an odd exchange, it led Hooker to dislocate his elbow, forcing him to take a knee and retire from the fight. If not for the injury, he would obviously continue to put up a good show for the people. This is when things take a turn. Despite putting on a valiant effort, some folks, who I wouldn't dare call boxing fans, started booing and harassing Hooker as he was being interviewed. There's a saying, kill him with kindness, and in this case, Hooker did the right thing calling them out.
I heard my hand bucks on the same time. I mean, look at this replay. My hand pop. Look, I got a knot. Hey, and everybody booing. Yeah, that number warrior.
No fighter deserves that nonsense. Hooker even went the extra mile, jumping out the ring and attempting to go after them.
Yeah, what's up?
Todd. Thank you, Chris. And here comes Mighty Mo Hooker.
Murky Sosa was more of the underrated fighters from the 90s that was not able to win a title, a real tough as nails fighter with incredible recovery skills. He always came up short, either win and you're in for a title shot or fight for a title itself. Sosa gave James Toney all he can handle, losing by a narrow split decision, the point deduction being the difference maker, split decision loss to Tony Thornton, and another close decision against Michael Nunn. After losing to Nunn, Sosa finally fought his way back up to where if he beats Roy Jones Jr., he will be back in line for a title shot, as this will be maybe Sosa's last chance to have a crack at the title at his physical peak. Before the fight even started, it was foreshadowing a bad night for Sosa. By the time the co-main event is starting, the main event fighters' hands are already wrapped up and they starting to warm up with their gloves, doing mitt work. Sosa's gloves did not arrive at his dressing room till it was literally minutes from the ring walk. When the gloves did arrive, which were supposed to be brand new gloves, he was given used wet gloves.
There's supposed to be 2 sets of boxing gloves available. They couldn't find any. There's supposed to be one in case a glove splits or anything in the corner. You can quickly change the glove. I don't know what's going to happen if this is the only set.
I've heard of upsmanship. This smacks of glovesmanship.
Once these gloves were thrown on him, the commission rushed him out to the ring, cold, dry, and not able to be warmed up. When fighters are dry and not warmed up before a match, they are more susceptible to getting knocked out in the first round. Obviously, the cold Sosa was going to get cracked early by Roy and have to go on the defensive. Sosa was able to weather the storm in the second round. Though Roy was landing beautifully, Sosa was really cracking Roy, giving him one of the toughest fights.
Jones had mentioned that he wanted to fight Sosa on the inside, and that's what he's doing. Keep up the pace. These 2 guys are fighting, especially Jones, when he lets those flurries go.
And Sosa momentarily stunned Jones there with
And now Sosa is starting to swell under the left eye.
Till Roy finally found an opening and dropped him for the first time in the fight. Sosa gets up, buying time and playing possum, and the ref stops the fight. Sosa immediately, without hesitation, soon as that hand is waved to stop the fight, he pushes the ref and attempts to throw a shot at him. And luckily his team was able to hurry up and hold him back before it got ugly. Team Sosa absolutely infuriated at the ref, the HBO team agreeing with Team Sosa that it was an awful stoppage, and if the ref thought he was out on his feet, New York rules allows for a standing 8 count where he can call it, analyze, and make his decision right there.
Jim, he should have called a standing 8 count. They have a standing 8 count in New York. If he would have given Sosa a standing 8 count, he could have observed what kind of condition Murky was in. At the end of the standing 8 count, he should have said to Murky, take a step toward me, and if Murky didn't wobble, you let the fight go. He should have never stopped it. That's the opportunity for the standing 8 count. He should have definitely called the standing 8 count at that point.
Going by this interview of Murky a little over 10 years ago, that night in Madison Square Garden still haunts him. Even if you didn't think Sosa was going to win, he still deserved a fair shake.
About the stoppage, I think what's interesting is that the referee, in a sense, took into account what Roy Jones does so great with his lightning reflexes and lightning punches, but he didn't take into account what the other guy has done so well, in that he has fought many fights like this, and that when you're in the big show, you got a chance, you deserve the benefit of a doubt to be able to fight the kind of fight that you can fight.
In an old ES News interview, Roy Jones Jr. claimed that Murky Sosa was one of the hardest punchers he had faced, and stated that Sosa hit so hard that even when he missed, he hurt you. I believe this beef started up way before the fight even took place. Unfortunately, I can't find the origin. But what really ignited things was when Terrence pulled up at Benavidez' Media Day workout. Terrence is mostly a reserved guy, but guys like Terrence and especially Spence Jr., they are low-key one of the best in the game when it comes to roasting. Just because they are reserved don't mean they are boring or bad talkers. Going by all the footage of Terrence trash talking, you could definitely tell that he's never lost a lunchroom roast battle in school.
Be ready. Be ready. What I told you. Be ready. What you tell me? That you gonna get your ass beat, boy. Be ready. Focus on your fight. Be ready for the ass beat. I'm gonna get all them burritos out you, boy. Put your purse on it. Ooh. Let's get some real shit on it. I said put your purse on it, motherfucker. Hey, look. You ain't gotta fight me. You ain't gotta fight me. I am Saturday.
Since this ain't Twitter, and you can't take a break to think and write a comeback, or have someone ghostwrite you a comeback, no names. Benavidez' best option was to try and get physical, leading to an altercation to be put to an end. So fast forward its weigh-in day, and let me repeat once again, because some folks say when stuff like this happens, it's fake. Fighters' nerves are on edge, they are hungry, thirsty, and just the slightest physical thing to annoy them will set them off. What started it here, they were both trash talking at the face-off. Benavidez' nose touches Terrence's. His nose touches first, but Benavidez thought the other way around, pushes Terrence. Terrence ain't gonna allow being disrespected in his own backyard, and without thinking, launches a haymaker, just narrowly missing him. Just look at the reaction of Benavidez' team member. Just priceless. Security and police quickly split the two up. It was at that moment where Terrence knew he got him. He smiles back and sticks his tongue out at Benavidez.
Yeah, that right there tells me that the bad blood is real. Yeah. It's not just talk, it's real. Let's see what happened right here.
Oh, he rolled with it.
Good early defense from Benavidez. He got out the way. That wouldn't have been good if Terrence connected with that with no gloves on. Wow.
With all the exchanges on social media leading up to this, I don't think anyone was surprised to see some actions take place at the press conference.
And get suspended.
Don't make excuses.
But somehow
don't make excuses before the fight.
You're a cheater.
Don't make excuses before the fight.
Trial. You got suspended for 6 months. You're a cheater.
Say whatever you say. See you November 6th. You're gonna see something special on you. And feel you're not on my level. And you will see November 6th. You're not gonna find out. I promise you.
Now supposedly Canelo misinterpreted one of Plant's insults and took it in a literal sense and pushed Plant. Plant obviously not gonna take that and be embarrassed in that manner because Dude got pushed back all the way into the third row. Plant rushes over to Canelo and tries to slap him. Rarely in this type of situation, a boxer will have his boxing mindset on and throw what he or she was taught in the gym, and Canelo sure did. Plant just barely gets him with his fingertips as he rolls it off to land a beautiful counter left on Plant. This sent Plant's sunglasses flying, and since Plant was wearing those thick rigid frame sunglasses, that left some damage under his eye. Luckily, the cut was not that bad to where the fight was able to continue as scheduled. And on top of that, this is When Boxing Gets Personal Part 7. Be sure to like, share, and if you're new, subscribe. Subscribe to the Patreon for early access and patron-backed projects. This project will be on the tale of Vasil Lomachenko versus Teofimo Lopez. I'm Alpha Sancho, and I'm out.